Welcome to Real Estate of Mind, a FarbmanGroup podcast. Good morning, this is Andy Gutman, and I'm here this morning with Tom Lasky and Mike Ziecik, the principals of the FarbmanGroup and NAI Farbman Partnership. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Andy.
Morning, Andy.
Gentlemen, obviously, you are both well known in the industry. You've been in it for, I hate to make you sound old, but you've been in it for decades. Your names are, I'm going to say legendary because everyone knows who you are. But for those that may not be in the industry, I'd like you to take a minute and just tell us a little bit about your background. Mike, do you want to start us off?
I started my career as a CPA in the consulting world, and we targeted companies that weren't performing well but had value in their real estate, and we would take that real estate, leverage it, and then consult the company in a turnaround situation. I then managed a large international brokerage firm in Southeast Michigan and started in my brokerage career. Tom and I formed FarbmanGroup in the economic downturn to target a full range of services including transactions. We're a corporate real estate department for clients that don't have that expertise in-house. We handle the strategy, budgeting, finance, how to design a workplace, project management. We do build-to-suits, construction services, and transaction work.
Thanks, Mike. And how about you, Tom? You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Andy, I started my real estate practice as an attorney with one of the top tier law firms in the city of Detroit. And it was terrific training, not only in the real estate area, but litigation and corporate business consulting, which set me up nicely. And then moved for a little additional challenge to one of the larger corporate real estate companies, one of the now international real estate companies in Metro Detroit, where I spent 18 years as a partner running the commercial office, leasing, and retail division, and ultimately had 30 brokers under me. And we were one of the more profitable firms in town, and was there till I began development around the United States, which my tenant rep business took me. As Mike mentioned, we started FarbmanGroup together close to 10 years ago, and we've been focused on more of the specialization boutique consulting type operation. And we actually started with redevelopment and repositioning of assets in the downturn, which we thought really added value, and that turned into the full range of investment advisory and other brokerage work.
So, gentlemen, you've told us a little bit about FarbmanGroup, but I think it's important to touch on, what the special sauce of FarbmanGroup is. Why would people seek out your services over and above others?
Andy, I think the simple answer to that is, having had the experience with the large international real estate companies, Mike and I were determined to make the FarbmanGroup experience for our clients distinctly different. We don't pretend to be the 5,000 person group. We, because of our training in large part, have focused on more consultative, client-oriented, client-centric, nimble approach to real estate. And in many cases that involves assembling a team. On any given project, it could range from simply transactional, it can involve lease administration, it can involve asset management, it can involve property management, construction, the full range, but on a very boutique basis.
Nice. Mike, anything to add to that?
Yeah, Tom and I both have consultative backgrounds, so when we looked at the commercial real estate business, we saw a need to inject consulting in the typical transaction world, and our approach requires understanding the client, the company goals, the financing, the culture, in order to evaluate a real estate strategy even before you start talking about a transaction. And oftentimes, a transaction doesn't even exist once you solve that solution. So I think that's what makes us a little different.
Great. Well, it sounds to me a little bit like you've got kind of a Jerry Maguire approach to things, that it's about customized services that fit the needs of the clients. It's specialized attention to their needs.
Exactly.
And it really is about giving them better service than just being a number in a large corporation.
It's the old, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. By having the flexibility to customize a team for each client's needs, we ensure that there are no weak links. And we think that that differentiates us from our larger international competitors that by necessity are going to have weak links and things are going to break down. We ensure that that doesn't happen because we have complete control.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we've established that you guys are the experts in tenant representation. What do you see as the biggest challenges that tenants are facing today?
The biggest thing that we see is obviously occupancy costs continue to increase, and clients are trying to be more efficient, yet understand that it's a tight job market, so they got to do something a little different to make sure that recruit is comfortable with their workplace. And clients need to design their space for efficiency, to work on the increasing cost. They need to be effective, and it also has to be a recruiting tool. Today, clients also are focused on sustainable practices, and that also attracts that millennial. They're dealing with a mobile, collaborative employee, and it's a challenging market. So all those things they have to be aware of to do it correctly. Furniture systems become obsolete. I think this affects the workplace. Workspace is just, I can't emphasize enough how that makes a difference. 20 years ago, office users were changing their workplace. Industrial companies were dipping in a little bit. And today, with the tight engineering marketplace, industrial companies are really listening to what we have to say about workplace strategies. Employees are working longer, so offices need to be more comfortable, mobile, flexible, and a large percentage of our offices today have not evolved to meet those work needs. So that's important for clients to remember.
Anything to add to that, Tom?
Andy, I think it's important to consider that we represent the full spectrum of users out there, whether it's a tenant in an office building or an industrial building, whether it's an owner of real estate or a prospective investor. And what we like to keep in mind is assisting them among those three areas in maximizing the value of its real estate while helping them minimize the risks associated with unknown market conditions.
So let's get into kind of the cool aspect of things. What kind of trends, Tom, are you seeing in commercial real estate these days?
Andy, Mike's going to speak to some of the specifics, but I wanted to just note up front that we do see trends. Every 7 to 10 years, we see oversupply, undersupply, and many of our clients find it important to understand or try and anticipate those cycles so that they're not caught with either too much or too little real estate. So we note that even though we have some issues where we have functional obsolescence, we believe that it all starts with the proper location. And if you're properly located for your business, that's going to be a sustainable, valuable asset for your company.
Wonderful. All right, Mike, anything you want to add to that?
I would say a couple trends that we see is the aging population. And so workplaces have to be aware that they want to keep their skilled talent that's been there for 10, 20, 30 years, and yet they have to be flexible enough to attract and recruit the millennial who has a different work style. And the good news is there's research now that we can understand better to design that workplace. I think demand for office space, because of increasing costs, is always a challenge. Companies are trying to downsize the square feet, put more people in that same square feet or less. They can do this to some extent with the mobile workplace and technology. So that's a constant challenge. In 10 years ago, 200 to 300 square feet per person was a norm, and today the goal is 50 to 60, sometimes achievable. I would say our clients also are more tuned into or spending attention on sustainability in the workplace. So saving water, energy, health of the environment, smells, noise, anything that's going to make their workplace more comfortable.
So one of the areas we didn't talk about that I think is interesting is the change and the trends that are affecting retail. Tom, anything you want to talk about with that?
Andy, it's really interesting. I think everyone's conditioned to expect that as we see online e-retail growing, that it's going to negatively impact bricks and mortar. And it certainly has had an impact in certain areas, in certain product types, in certain geographic regions where the impact has been negative. But I've noticed in the last 6 to 12 months, and I think the pundits support this, that it's now firmly acknowledged that e-commerce is part of our life and will continue to be a growing part of it, but it's also acknowledged that bricks and mortar will have a place in our U.S. commerce for the time in the future. So what we're seeing is a more positive trend moving back toward, albeit smaller bricks and mortar, but the trend is the trend is additional hard space, bricks and mortar space.
And I can attest to that. We saw that recently with Amazon dropping in their first pickup location.
Exactly.
So you're definitely on track with that.
You can't deliver overnight from across the country unless you have a depot that's in proximity to something on the East Coast.
It's very true. Thank you, Tom. Well, Tom, Mike, really appreciate you coming out. I'm sure our listeners are going to get valuable information out of that. If they want to reach you, www.FarbmanGroupLLC.com for any questions they have. And I would imagine your phones will be ringing off the hook after they listen to this. So thank you both.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Join us next time for another wonderful edition of Real Estate of Mind, a Farbman Group podcast.